Hello and welcome to TWE, where we sit here and we talk all things WWE. Brand new channel. My name is RTW. Just real quick before we start in on everything, to introduce you to who I am. A gamer who's also a big wrestling fan. They say WWE and wrestling in general is a rednecks drama show. Well, if that's a rednecks drama show, I am the epiphany of the fan that a redneck drama show brings in, and I love it and have watched it ever since I was a teenager. So, that being said, big things has happened. Welcome to this brand new era on YouTube and this new journey, and I hope you come along with me on that said journey. So today, we're going to start this whole channel off and this whole series off reviewing Monday Night Raw with a bang with the Netflix premiere of WWE Monday Night Raw. So, we open the show with the curtain showing a video of the history of the WWE from its carnival roots up to television juggernaut and where it will probably lead in the streaming atmosphere. It's the same video that was released on YouTube a few hours prior to the show starting, but still, just to see those curtains wrapped around like it's a Metallica concert was so just badass looking. I've never seen it. Which then it drops down with some pyro, and who's standing in the middle? But of course, the man, the King of Kings, Triple H, sitting there welcoming everyone to the to the WWE, and welcoming everyone and introducing the WWE Universe to the rest of the world, and have them prove why the WWE Universe is one of the loudest universes on this universe. The show officially starts, and the first thing we get is the return of the Great One. The Rock is here, and he comes out, and he does the weirdest thing. This is kind of actually really odd, because the last time we saw the Great One was at Bad Blood, where he counted to 3, slashed his own, signaled a throat slash, and like he was going to kill something. And then today, he comes back since then, and he's a good guy now. What? He acknowledges Cody Rhodes and thanks him for holding the WWE on his back. Kind of odd to me. Last thing I knew was that he wanted to break Cody's back. But now I guess apparently him and from what I'm understanding, from what I'm hearing through wrestling news outlets, is that some WrestleMania plans are being scrapped, probably due to the Moana 2 or the Moana live action scheduled reshoots going on. So that might throw it, but the thing is I feel like you almost can't go back to it now. If you can't have him come back in the future and say, "Oh, you Cody, you aren't doing what you need to be doing," and it's kind of over now, right? But anyway, after about 20 minutes of The Rock gloating and talking and everything else and doing the hoo-wee or whatever it is from Moana, we finally start to show off right with Roman versus Solo Sikoa, and what a match. It starts off with a lockup until Roman throws Solo out. After a scuffle, Solo grabs Reigns' head and just slams it into the announce table. After that, eventually Roman gets thrown back into the ring, where he goes back and forth with Solo, and then Solo gets caught with a big boot by Roman Reigns. Shortly after, Solo goes back out of the ring. Reigns follows, and Solo gets the advantage and even hits Reigns with a monitor from the announce table. And then Solo Sikoa grabs the steps, the hard steel steps, and just bashes Roman Reigns' head in, which leads us to, of course, a commercial. Once we get back, however, from the commercial, we do see Solo Sikoa with a steel chair just beating down Roman Reigns. He even puts it around his head and puts him in a turnbuckle and goes for that Samoan hip attack that him and Jacob Fatu does so well in the corner. But as he goes to take it, Roman gets out of the way, hits him with a few of his own chair shots in the back, and boy, you could hear those things echo through the Grand Canyon. After those couple chair shots, though, he takes Solo and he sets him up for the concerto, made famous by obviously Edge and Christian. And then with the concerto, he missed. 2 chairs hitting each other, hurt his hand. He turns around, gets hit with a spinning Uranagi from Solo Sikoa for a 1-2 oop. Reigns goes for the concerto, misses, hits two chairs together, hurts his hands, and then gets hit by Solo Sikoa with a Uranage. Shortly after, of course, Roman gets the advantage. He hits Solo Sikoa with his apron drop kick deal that he does on the outside there, and then sets up a table. And after he sets up a table, goes to grab Solo Sikoa. Sikoa hits him in the head with a kendo stick. Solo Sikoa then goes inside to go after Roman some more. Then he gets hit with the last ride. The Undertaker's the last ride powerbomb from Roman Reigns onto Solo Sikoa for a 1-2. That's it. Why was it? Did he kick out at 2 before the 3? No, it was because the ref was pulled out by Tonga Loa, and then Jacob Fatu had interfered as well, laying out Roman, followed by a Samoan Spike, which also led to a 1-2 and a kick out. After that, ref's trying to tell him, hey, listen, he's supposed to be here, and once he gets a Samoan Spike to his own throat for his own troubles. This leads to Jimmy and Sammy coming out to take care of Jacob Fatu and Tonga. As Sammy and Jimmy are taking them out, Solo's getting up. He gets hit with the surprise spear by Roman Reigns, and he gets only a 2 count for that spear. He looks for another one. He gets in the corner, does his pose, and ready everything. As he goes for it, who comes out? Kevin Owens, and hits him with a Kevin Owens stunner, which Solo, of course, tries to take advantage, but only gets a 2 count. Cody then comes out. So Kevin tries to throw him into the ropes, set up a pop-up power bomb, which Cody hits the Cody Cutter to take out Owens, and then Reigns finally hits another spear on Solo Sikoa for the 1-2-3. As Heyman gets ready to put the Una Fala over Roman Reigns to make sure that he is known and shown to be known as the one and only tribal chief, The Rock comes out. But again, not heel Rock. Didn't really set anything up. He just takes the Una Fala from Heyman, puts it on himself because he is like a high chief. And that's how we end the first match. My honest opinions, I think it was a good match. I enjoyed the whole thing. I knew they were going to interrupt. Everybody knows. Anybody who's watched any Bloodline match where it has a tribal rules, a tribal combat, tribal anything, you know that the tribe's going to come in and interfere everything. But he didn't. But they did it in a good way. In a way. Go with that. Out next, though, John Cena comes out to basically come out, and he just puts down all this stuff. Wanted to make sure he was here one more time. What LA, because that's where they were at, has given to him. How it's been over 2,000 days since he's won a match. He ain't ever going to be able to go for the, he brought up the whole breaking the championship title, title holding number record. So, going into the Rumble, he spent 25 minutes letting us know he was going into a Rumble. All right. Now, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley's title match was next, and I'm confused because I heard that there was supposed to be a last woman standing match. Now, when I went back to double check things, when I noticed it wasn't going to be that, I'm getting conflicting reports to where the point, I guess, it was just up in the air, but a lot of people were reporting it like it was actually happening. I thought it was, and I'm not going to lie, I was kind of upset and a little disappointed that it wasn't, because it should have been. At the end of the day, it was still a pretty good match. Liv, of course, came out with Dominic Mysterio and Raquel Rodriguez. Rhea comes out by herself, does not bring Damian Priest. She can handle it on her own. And of course, as the match starts, Rhea gets an early advantage. Liv, trying to get out of there, rolls out, and Raquel Rodriguez tries to help out, but all she ends up doing is eating a cannonball from the apron onto herself from Rhea Ripley. Rhea then grabs Liv Morgan, brings her over to the announce table, and slams her face. And let me tell you something, the announce table got a lot of time and a lot of offense in these matches tonight. And it was quite insane. Once we come back from commercial, basically there was a small back and forth going on, and then Rhea just grabs Liv, hits the Riptide, and gets that 1, 2, and Liv kicked out of the Riptide. I would have never guessed it. Doesn't seem like one to me that would just get out of one finisher. Is insane to me. Of course, then that's when Dom wants to get involved and grabs some stuff while a chair's placed into the ring. He distracts the ref. Liv Morgan hits an Oblivion on Rhea Ripley right on top of the chair, goes for the pin and gets only a 2 count. Liv then has the audacity to hit the 3 Sacred Amigos and then a frog splash onto Liv Morgan. Only gets a 2 count. And that frog splash was horrible. That frog splash was bad. Don't ever do that again, Liv. Just take that out of your arsenal and put it in the back and completely forget about it. Liv tries to take advantage and do something to get the pin going, but Rhea regains control, hits her with the Riptide, and says, nah, you kicked out at 1, we do 2, we raise you 1. And she hits her with a second one, and that pin is deep, and next thing you know, 3, your new Women's World Heavyweight Champion, once again, is Rhea Ripley. And as she was celebrating, she goes up the ramp, and all of a sudden, what do you hear? Kid! That's right. The Undertaker with the American Badass blaring in the background. The Undertaker returns, does 1 lap around the ring, goes back up the apron, and then with Rhea Ripley by his side, does the classic Undertaker pose. And I know he says something to her, probably passing the torch. On the outside, she was keeping it together, but you know on the inside, she was probably dancing around like a schoolgirl. That leads us to Gable going up to his GM and saying he wants to prove himself that he's better than any luchador and wants to challenge any luchador next week. Doesn't matter who it is. I think we know who it is. That leads us to Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this is where it seemed like the show just takes a big dip. It just dips. And this match definitely was the match they knew wasn't going to do as great, because it just did not live up to the first 2 matches. Travis Scott, first of all, shows up out of nowhere with Jey Uso, walks through the crowd, and he's got a blunt in his hand, and you're just like, this kid's in the audience. What the fuck? He just walking down the ramp, just and even at one point you can see Jay hey man, we can do that later, bro. Right now we yeeting, we yeeting, not for 20, and you know what I'm saying? As Drew McIntyre comes into the ring, Jey Uso attacks him before he can finish his entrance with a suicide dive through the ropes, which Drew then, after that one tag, Drew quickly made it where he had the upper hand. And like I said, this match was just really boring. There wasn't many big points unlike the last 2. I just get to the middle of it, which is just a boring match. Drew finally goes for a Claymore, doesn't get it. He gets super kicked instead for a 2 count. They have a back and forth, leading to Drew hitting Future Shock, also for a 2 count. Drew sets up for a Claymore again, but gets countered with a spear by Jey Uso for a 2 count. Couple of super kicks from Jey Uso later. Drew McIntyre finally hits the Claymore, a surprise Claymore. After a couple super kicks later, Drew finally hits a surprise Claymore and only gets a 2 count. Drew sets up for another Claymore. Jay just stands up and then collapses. Drew mocks him for a little bit, then gets ready again for the Claymore. Goes for the Claymore. Gets caught in the air and rolled up for a 1, 2, 3. How did Jey Uso beat the Scottish Warrior Drew McIntyre? With a surprise roll up. Yeah, honest opinion, was not happy with that match. Worst match of the night, in my opinion. Worst match on the card. This led us to Roman and Heyman promoting the next WWE 2K game. I will be getting that. But with that shameless plug, also on this channel, we will be doing these storylines of the WWE 2K24, and I'm gonna try figure out how to get some game mode going. We'll have that figured out. And then this is after they show 2K25. The WWE probably did one of the dumbest things they can do. And I'll guarantee you Netflix probably wasn't paying attention to what happened with this person in the past few years and what's been revealed of this person in the past few years. They were just like, we want every generation, one of your big stars from every generation. So you had The Rock for the Attitude Era. You had John Cena for the Ruthless Aggression and PG Era. Who we got for the Golden Era? You got so many to choose from. Let's go Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan comes out. Who cares? The crowd literally just boos. You can tell they were trying to bleed some cheers to make it sound better, but those boos were overpowering any speakers trying to make a cheers happen. Hogan advertises his beard, and he says, WWE tags with Netflix, brother. And just like a lot of us watching on Netflix, I was like, yeah, I know. I'm watching it right now on my screen. So get the off. Get off my screen. I don't want you here. Go. You can't. He couldn't even stand straight up. The man leaning over. Like a blown over tree. Finally, though, after 15 minutes of that annoying crap, we finally get to the main event. Seth freaking Rollins versus CM Punk. Now listen, I'm going to be unbiased here, okay? Stop the cap. But this match was great. I've been hearing a lot of people give this match shit, and I don't understand why. I really don't. They're two guys who hate each other that got put in a regular match. Wanted to go further. They both went to the ref and just went, let it ride. So the ref, kind of has to go, all right, they both want it, fuck it. The ref kind of just has to go, all right, they both want it, have at it. That's basically what he had to do. I don't think they went overboard with the weapons like I've heard some people say. They barely used any weapons, to be honest. It was more like teases for a future match. Which is what I think they were really doing. But anyway, Seth came out looking like a Dungeons and Dragons mage character. And once Punk came out, Punk gets the advantage, throws Rollins out of the ring, goes for a dive and misses. Rollins then hits his own dive through the ropes, tells the ref to let it ride. Eventually, Rollins goes for a curve stomp, misses, gets hit with gets into a GTS, but counters with repeated elbows to the head. Gets Punk in the corner, beats him down for like close to a 5 count, and then stops and tells the ref once again to let it ride. Punk takes advantage of this distraction and gets Rollins onto the turnbuckle and hits a super neckbreaker from the top rope. Looked devastating, and even though you see a lot of stuff like that today, that still, I don't know, it's because you look at somebody who's at a certain age and you look at somebody who has had history of neck and back issues, you see them do that, you're just like, geez, wait. We come back from commercial with Punk getting control from Rollins with a couple knees in the corner, a neck breaker, followed by a second neck breaker, but draped over the top rope. Punk once again goes for one of the dives and finally hits it. Punk rolls Rollins in, goes for another dive, like a springboard clothesline or something. Rollins catches him and hits him with his own GTS. And it was nasty. The Punk looked like he hit that thing hard. After the rope break, Punk rolls out, Rollins grabs Punk, throws him in. He goes to slide in. As he's doing that, he gets hit with a GTS, or not GTS. He gets hit with a curb stomp from CM Punk and gets only a 2 count. Punk sets up for a GTS. He gets countered by Rollins, going for his own GTS, hits a second GTS, and only gets a 2 count once again. Rollins sets up for his curb stomp, but Punk's too smart for that, so he rolls out and goes out, and as they're out, Rollins follows suit. They go on to the announce table where Rollins hits a pedigree onto the announce table. He throws Punk inside, hits a second pedigree. The ref goes for the count, but only gets a 2. Brief back and forth between Rollins and Punk until they go into the corner where Rollins hits a surprise buckle bomb. We haven't seen him do that in a minute. Hits a buckle bomb onto CM Punk and then hits a curb stomp and only gets a 2 count. My mistake. That's where Punk gets his foot on the ropes. So in the other ones, Punk just kicked out. But after this nasty curb stomp is where Punk gets his foot onto the second rope, which once again, you don't see that often. Rollins gets Punk on the top rope, goes for that superplex into a Falcon Arrow. He hits the suplex, goes for the Falcon Arrow, gets caught, gets put into a GTS, gets hit with the GTS. Rollins then bounces off the ropes, lands perfectly over Punk's shoulders. So what does Punk do? Throws him down and gets the 1, 2, 3. No, that's not what Punk does. He gets up, hits him with a second GTS, and gets the 1, 2, 3. Cheers and claps all around. Like, I mean it. Like, this match was so good. I would love to see a Punk versus Seth too. And I honestly think we're going to get that. But all in all, what did I think about the show? I think if I had to give it a rating from 1 to 5, I would definitely give it a 3.5. For sure. For sure. Not the best Monday. Some things felt draggy. The disappointment of the Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre match. There were points where they were showing a bunch of celebrities that were there no one cares about, except for Macaulay Culkin. Everybody cared about Macaulay Culkin. He got a bigger pop than Hulk Hogan. He's never even stepped in the square circle. So that's what I think. I think it's a 3.5. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you think it deserves better, and what you guys think about this format, and what would you like to see changed. What would you like to see everything else? This is the first episode, so be somewhat gentle. But make sure you leave a like, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified on the next one. But come back and see more TWE, where we talk about the E.